Let's just start the show by saying, wow. Welcome to the Association Postgame presented by Caesar Sportsbook, along with Rudy Gay and Isaiah Thomas. I'm Stan Verrett. I didn't think there was any way that we could sum up what this series could possibly be before it started. And then somehow it exceeded expectations after just one game. What a win for the San Antonio Spurs. 122-115 in double overtime over the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma City. We got complete post-game coverage coming up, highlights. We'll listen to the stars and both coaches and get the analysis from these guys. But initial thoughts after that game?
Man, I sent out a tweet before I said this is going to be one for the record books, and it did not. You know, that's exactly what happened today, man. These two teams are two juggernauts. They're going at it every play. Oklahoma City goes down early.
Yep.
You know, goes up early. Goes down early. San Antonio,
okay, she went down early.
Yeah,
yep.
San Antonio is playing to come back, and they didn't make it a game. It's just been I don't know. I'm still in shock. That was a great game, man.
IT, have you processed it all yet?
Nah, not yet. Like, obviously, I was going for the Spurs, but to have a game like that to open the Western Conference Finals, to get a win like that for the Spurs without De'Aaron Fox, man, that's a hell of a win, and that's a battle for both teams, though. If
Absolutely.
we can get 7 games like this, it's gonna be one for the ages.
Yeah. Yep. It looked like one coming in, and it's exactly what we got, one game in so far. Let's take a look at the highlights, and boy, there were a lot of them to talk about. Game 1 from OKC, first time since 1998. Playoff series between teams with 62 or more regular season wins. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his second straight MVP award, got the trophy before the game. De'Aaron Fox out with an ankle sprain that he suffered in the Minnesota series. Victor Wembanyama ready to go. Man, was he ready to go. But first quarter, so was Alex Caruso.
He came in right away.
Yeah, he started out
7 straight points.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Started on the defensive end.
And Caruso like, it's my house.
I do this.
Later in the first,
Look at
Gilgeous-Alexander feeding the hot hand.
Yeah, hot hand throughout the game.
Thunder down 3. About 2 minutes later, Thunder down by 1. Isaiah Hartenstein with a steal. And guess who's back? Jalen Williams back from the hamstring injury.
He's back. Didn't look like he was hurt at all.
And the Thunder on a 15-5 run as A.J. Mitchell leaves it for him.
Fingertip.
Ooh.
Stephon Castle,
Man.
driving into traffic for the bucket and one, had playmaking responsibilities with Fox out. In addition to his scoring, he had 11 in the first, tied at 27 after one. Second quarter now.
Man.
Castle to Wembanyama. I mean, what do you do about this?
Nothing.
But
Look at that.
for Steph Castle to see that, his vision was really good today, man. Me and IT talked about that.
And then Wembanyama going around Jalen Williams, who they used to defend him, but
He went through
it
him.
didn't work. Then again, nothing worked tonight.
He went through him. He didn't go around.
Hell of a
Wembanyama had a double-double by halftime.
ready to go.
Meanwhile, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander held only 4 points in the first half, ties his lowest in the first half this season. 51-44 San Antonio at the break. Let's move ahead to the fourth quarter. Vassell
Man.
to Wembanyama.
Making plays for him every time down.
Man, they just
He's getting snatched, and he's finishing with one hand.
they play so well together, man.
Later in the fourth, rough shooting night for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but he gets a layup there past Wembanyama and one. Thunder down by just 5. Moments later, Dylan Harper
Didn't play like no rookie tonight.
No.
muscling Chet Holmgren.
Man,
Spurs up 7. A minute later, Thunder down by 5. J-Dub in the lane,
God.
got it up and in, getting the crowd into the game. They were quiet for much of the night, wondering what hit them with San Antonio. And then Gilgeous-Alexander setting up Caruso,
It's a tough late.
cutting to the basket. George Kittle, what do you think?
Man.
He's digging it. Went to high school in Norman. He's an Oklahoma fan. Under 2 minutes to go. Caruso for 3.
Hell of a game by Caruso.
He had 8 threes in this game. Thunder back on top, 95-94. But Julian Champagnie,
They always had an answer. Every time Oklahoma did something, San Antonio had an answer.
Spurs up by 2. Seconds later, Jalen Williams again making moves in the lane.
Big shot.
Before Wembanyama could rotate, it's 97 apiece. Less than 20 seconds ago, tied at 99. Wembanyama just up above everyone else, and the Spurs up 2. Less than 10 seconds to play now. Just big shot after big shot from these two teams. Gilgeous-Alexander turning the corner on Castle. It's 1-on-1 apiece.
That was
Yeah.
a really good play right up.
That was a good setup.
Yeah.
Out of timeout play.
Under 3 seconds to go. Wembanyama got a look, but Chet Holmgren, runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year.
We get some of that.
Okay.
Making the block, and so they will go to overtime. Tied at 1-1 apiece. Let's play some more. Spurs come out swinging in the extra session. Castle.
There you go. Come fly with
Getting there.
Wow. This seems like it was so long ago. That was in overtime?
Yep. He set the tone. Oklahoma City ball. Gilgeous-Alexander. Over in the corner, guess who? Guess what? Caruso again.
All day. He was there all day.
That's his 8th triple. Very next play, Castle. This pass deflected by Caruso. Jalen Williams with the loose ball, and he's going to keep it and finish it.
it was big play after big play. The whole overtime.
1 minute to go. OKC up 1. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing MVP things.
That was pretty good defense.
They went up 3 with a minute left.
Now they're up 3. Spurs in desperation mode. Castle to Wembanyama. No way.
That was crazy.
Oh! 7-5 with that kind of range.
Does that remind you of something?
I mean, it's
We've seen another play.
crazy.
We've seen somebody else do that in Golden State.
0.4 to go, under a second left. Dylan Harper looking for anybody. Finds Castle but can't connect. Spurs had a chance, but we're going to double overtime in OKC at 108 apiece.
A little bit more on that pass, young fella, man. A little bit more.
That was a good play.
It was.
All right, 2.5 left in double overtime. Thunder down 4. Kayshawn Wallace. Big 3, 1-point game. Spurs up 4. OKC not giving up. Jalen Williams. Top of the key for 3 more.
Big shot.
Right into it. Walked right into it.
1-point game. Less than 30 to go. Spurs up 4. And Castle makes eye contact with Wembanyama.
There you go.
Caruso slipped and fell, and Wembanyama put in the finishing touches on a magnificent performance. As the Spurs take it 122 to 115 to go up a game.
Look at
for him,
him.
young
Look
fella.
at him. When in doubt, that picture's going to be nice.
That was the difference. The Spurs had Victor Wembanyama and OKC did not. How about 41 points, 24 rebounds for Wembanyama to open this series? One of 6 Spurs in double figures. Caruso was fantastic. You remember in the series against the Lakers, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said he just wanted to win, didn't care if it was his teammates who got it done. Gilgeous-Alexander, rough shooting night. He's 7 for 23, did have 24 and 12 assists, but Williams and Caruso had his back with the scoring, but they were the only 3 Thunder players in double figures. And Victor Wembanyama ends OKC's 8-game postseason win streak and helps the Spurs steal away home court advantage in the Western Conference Finals. Here's what he said after the game.
2 overtimes, nearly 50 minutes of play. What kind of composure, what kind of endurance did it take to win this game?
I don't even know. It's the first time we're in this situation.
I love that. 41 points, though. 23 rebounds for you. You had your hand in nearly every play down the stretch. How did you continue to show up and make the right play?
It was like sheer willpower. Everything was going really fast tonight. I guess I wasn't really thinking.
The defensive effort overall. What did it take from each player on your team to shut down a team like OKC?
Oh, everybody had to step up. You know, everybody answered the call. We had to cover up for our guy, Fox. He will be hopefully available next game. You know, I guess we're just built like this.
I love that. Just built like this. And Victor, this game 1 feeling more like a game 6. Now that you have this game in the books, can you describe what you think this series is going to be about?
You know, it might be a long series. Winning one game means something, but doesn't mean everything, you know. So we got to stay down to earth, and hopefully, if it's come here, stop, come here. If it's a long series, come on, boy. If it's a long series, we're going to need this win.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Mitch, if you could just speak to the competitiveness and the way you guys kept answering the bell down the stretch against the defending champs.
It was a competitive game. Felt like both teams just kept doing enough to not be put away and kept doing enough to let the other team know they were trying to pull away. It got to the point probably sometime in the end of that fourth quarter, it just felt like it was a war of wills. And there was a level of mental toughness that was exuded by both teams. And almost sometimes, like in football, they say it's just at some point the time runs out. It felt like everybody kept scoring. But the bench was great for us. We needed every second from everybody that played. And then those 5 guys, I don't know what it is, one of you probably do, but they played maybe the last 15 or so odd game time minutes. And their legs got wobbly, but they composed themselves and finished strong. And that was a heck of a game to be a part of.
And then by this point, are you at all, I suppose you're not surprised anymore about the way Victor is able to rise to these moments as they come along in his career. Just every big moment, he seems to rise to that occasion and meet the moment.
I thought his level of physicality and execution through physicality was tremendous. His rebounding obviously shows itself in the box score, but was off the charts defensively. He was in a stance almost all night. And I thought he did a good job of, and the guys along with him, just being stubborn in terms of they made some shots, and they did, obviously, you got to give up something when you try to take things away. And at times when they made shots or they made us pay for whatever we were trying to do, we stuck with it. And he led the way. I mean, that's 49 big minutes, and it was high level for the majority of those.
What was the key defensively against SGA? It seems like a lot of different guys took turns on him.
Yeah, we try to keep guys fresh on him and just make it hard for him. I mean, he's so dynamic, gets the spots to contest without fouling and make him take tough shots, and he's going to make shots, and sometimes he misses shots. You may not have anything to do with it, but you just try to make them work.
Mitch, I'm glad to see your voice has survived 2 overtimes somehow. There's a lot of fans from around the world that are going to start watching at this point. A lot of them have maybe seen clips of Victor, but haven't really sat down and watched a game with him. Can you explain for a lot of those people the essence of what made him so special tonight?
I think that young man he has a rare desire to step into every moment that's in front of him. And I think he has showed in his 3 years in a lot of different situations with a lot of different circumstances that he's going to attack those moments. Doesn't mean they'll always work out for him or be exactly the outcome that he wants, but he has some rare God-given ability. He puts in even more work and preparation into try to maximizing that. And his disposition and mentality and approach is reflected at times in the way he handles those moments.
Mitch, the list of rookies to start in the Western Conference Finals is short. The list of rookies to have their first playoff start in the Western Conference Finals is even shorter. What did you make of Dillon's poise tonight and his just aggression overall against one of the best perimeter defensive teams in the league?
I thought it was phenomenal. I thought he was even better defensively. I think the list of guys, if you want to say how good they were, is probably even shorter, and he's on that list. And it's just been very rewarding for someone that's tried to support him through this year and help him in terms of coaching him at times and giving him guidance of just trusting us, because he was this good 8 months ago, but we wanted him to get some corporate knowledge and learn the program and the fundamentals of this league and how tough it was and to get in better shape and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he watched a lot of guys in terms of his rookie class put up bigger numbers than him, and there's a lot of talk around that, and they deserve that because they had good years, but that young man is everything that everybody's seen right now.
Coach,
we've asked
about sorry.
We've asked you several times about just you and the guys both about just watching Victor do Victor things and whether it gets old, if you still find yourself in awe. In regards to Dillon, do you find yourself, standing there just impressed with the way he can get to the rim at will and just all the things that he's done in the playoffs specifically?
Yes. I think that he has shown poise and composure beyond his years. When you talk about whether it's the age of Steph, Dillon, and Victor, and you can throw Carter in that mix, or the experience of the other guys that haven't been in these moments. And we've said it all year, and it doesn't, again, mean that it's always going to work out, but these guys are looking forward to the moments to step into, and it's just really fun to see how together they are and how they attack it.
Coach, not to like beat a dead horse about the moments, but specifically with Victor there, 30 seconds to go, and you guys down 3, need a bucket. He hasn't taken many jump shots all game, but he steps into that moment and pulls from 30, 35 feet. I mean, what did you just see from him in that moment? And again, just what was your reaction to that kind of play?
They weren't organized, and we've had a few of these recently where we've gone without a timeout, and we've missed some really good shots. And it was just another one of those moments where I felt like we may have had, if it wasn't even an advantage, some momentum where they weren't bodies on bodies. And this league's about the players, and he's a really good one. He stepped up and answered the bell.
Mitch, Vic had laid out his case for MVP in the final weeks of the season. We all know that. As if being in the conference finals isn't inspiring enough probably for him, do you think it was worth a little extra seeing the trophy that he wanted be handed to someone else tonight? Do you think that?
100%. I mean, he's competitive. To see the other competitor get the trophy that he deserves, got voted the winner. But if you're a competitor and you see another competitor get rewarded with what you want, I don't think it had any effect on the game. That didn't make him play harder than anyone else. But if that's motivation, we all get motivated by different things. And, yeah, I don't want to speak for him, but I would assume as a competitive person, that would be my approach or perspective in terms of answering that question.
And there were a couple of times tonight, Steph would have a turnover, something would go sideways, and Vic would be the guy putting the hand on the top of the head. And I know he's done that at times, but to be 22 and have all the world's eyeballs on him and be a leader of guys at that age, is that maybe the underrated part of his game that we don't talk about enough, the fact that he's also picking guys up when they need it?
I think it's been a big part of his growth this year. I think that was one of the things at the start of the season that he was convicted about, in terms of there's no perfect time to be a leader. There's no perfect time where you walk into some of these roles or spaces that he wants to as a player and as a person in this league. And I think he has grown tremendously in that throughout the season and finding his voice and his moments in his own way.
Before the game, you mentioned the importance of De'Aaron Fox. Can you talk about, in a game like tonight, just his veteran voice alone and how it helps carry you guys to this win?
Yeah, he was great on the bench. He was continually giving guys direction and talking to the players that were in the game. And again, when you have someone who's used to playing with these guys and in the fight, to have that perspective is really helpful.
I feel like it was a great effort from everybody, 1 to 15. Physically, I'm feeling tired, honestly, but I think it was the regulation last shot. I had an open look, on a way smaller defender, so I should have just taken it. But it's an experience. We learn,
Mitch was saying that it's a pretty natural response for a competitor to see another competitor get something that he wants, whether it's the MVP trophy or whatever it might be. Just curious if that was in your mind at all, knowing that Shai had got that award and you were in the top 3 for it, and, did any part of tonight feel personal? Some of your facial expressions kind of look like you were really, really going for it.
Yeah, for sure. Everything you just said.
What does it feel like to see someone else get the MVP trophy right before you step into, I guess, what is basically the biggest game of your career, and then to have the best performance of your career?
Feels like I still got a lot to learn. And I want to get that trophy, many times in my career.
We talked a lot about winning an MVP and what goes behind it, whether it's political, things of that nature. Do you feel like, especially after this game, that you're the best player in basketball?
Do I feel like it right now? I feel tired. But it's not a question I'm wondering right now. We'll see, The world is 8 billion people, so
it's 8 billion opinions.
Victor, tonight almost felt a little bit symbolic, the MVP ceremony for SGA before the game, and then you have a big response tonight with your performance. If your performance tonight had a message behind it, what would that message be?
The message would be that we as a team are ready to go in any environment, in any place, against anybody. And even though we still got a lot to learn, our effort should be over anybody else's. And tonight we were relentless.
Victor, a lot of guys took turns on SGA. What did you think of the play of the guys, perimeter guys on him?
No, they were great. They were great. It's a team thing. Everybody was very connected today. We need to keep being connected, and I don't know how probably not gonna practice tomorrow, but we're definitely gonna meet and talk about it and anticipate for next games. There's gonna be adjustments on both sides.
Vic, you've said a couple of times now that you're tired, which makes a lot of sense. I imagine there's a mental toll during a game like that as well. Can you just explain what that game was like to be a part of, with the amount of hits you took and to continue to keep going?
It's something, the relentlessness is built as well. First of all, the first thing is physical ability, getting stronger as the years go on. And the mental toughness, you have to have it all the time. And as you said, yes, it takes a toll, but we will rest in July.
You talk about the relentlessness, the physicality you had to play with tonight. When you have such an emotional and physically taxing game like this one, how important is it for y'all to be able to close it out there in the second overtime?
It's everything. It's everything. And I feel like it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of, you need experience as well. But tonight, a game like tonight is the best way to get experience. We played 5 quarters. So, we're learning, and by the time we get the experience, we'll compensate with our effort.
Victor, I asked Mitch, I'd love to hear it from you as well, even though we didn't see De'Aaron tonight. Can you talk about his veteran voice and how much it helped carry you guys to this win?
No, it matters a lot, Obviously, you said talking, and he sees a lot as a point guard, and his guidance with the young guys is just great. And I knew they were gonna have his back.
Vic, you've referenced many times, both in round 1 and round 2, and even tonight, that this is a team that's still learning, that you're still learning. How do you marry the fact that for a group that's learning, and many of you haven't been on this stage before, you look extremely comfortable in this moment? Well, how learning tends to be awkward. You guys are not awkward with this.
Yeah. It's we want to win everything, and we have the chance to have people above us in the organization that know how to do that. And so far, it looks like they've put the right people together to give us a chance. Because right now we got a chance. We still got a lot to do, a lot to learn, a lot of trials to go through that we don't even know of, but we have a chance, and that's because they've built the team like this.
Victor, on connaissait tous le talent de Dylan Harper en attaque. Est-ce que tu parlais un peu de son impact défensif? Est-ce que tu es encore surpris par ce qu'il est capable de faire? Est-ce que tu considères qu'il a aussi ce potentiel d'être une superstar, d'être un two-way en fait joueur?
Bien sûr.
Shai, you guys had chances tonight. What'd you make just of the battle that this was, and some areas for improvement moving forward to Wednesday?
Yeah, quality opponent. We knew it was going to be a dogfight. We just got to be better. Me in particular had to play better, especially against a team of this caliber. Yeah, nothing more than that.
How'd you feel about just pace, tempo, both up the floor and in the half court offensively?
Yeah, exactly what I expected. Fast. They played very fast. Yeah, exactly what I expected in the game. Just got to be better out there.
Shai, it looked like you were maybe a little more hesitant than usual attacking early on, and then got more aggressive as the game went on. Obviously, they pose a huge challenge defensively. Like, what's your process?
And I had a lot of sprays for open shooters. more so. And then I think they loosened up as the game went on, and I was able to find my cracks. Yeah, it's got to be better when I get those cracks, I think.
You talked before about enjoying finding ways to get better as a player, but also just throughout a series, how much do you enjoy the problem-solving aspect of finding ways to be effective against a specific team like this?
Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what this time of year is about. Like, it's the highest level of basketball, and you're going to find out exactly what type of player you are, what type of competitor you are, and exactly what you need to get better at. And it's no different this time of year around.
You talked about the problem solving. Mark mentioned, obviously, Wemby's not an easy guy to go against, but you guys playing them that early in the season, you found a bit of a groove of sort of understanding how to attack him a little bit better. Is there like a feeling out process or like an adjustment period against a shot blocker like that?
Yeah, you just got to be aggressive, also just be smart, I think, more than anything. He, yes, obviously is very big at the rim, but we still found cracks tonight at times. We just got to be willing to work possessions and make sure we get the best shot each time down, and just be patient with that.
Shai, I'm not sure what was more impressive, Alex's defense on Wemby or his shooting tonight. What did you like better?
I can't pick either. It was a great game from Alex. Sad it went to waste. But yeah, he played his butt off tonight. I'm proud of him. But I expect that from Alex, especially this time of year. He always brings it.
The way he played, the way Jalen came back, first came back after the hamstring, to have the guys around you have some, encouraging games, and you guys go to double overtime even on a night you're not pleased.
I know what my teammates are capable of, what we're capable of as a team when we bring it. Just unfortunate I wasn't able to bring my best game tonight, but that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're your best version, sometimes you're not. You got to roll with the punches, don't get discouraged, and stay true to who you are.
You mentioned you found your cracks a little bit later. How tough is it to prepare to shoot over a guy with that kind of length? And one, what the things that you did find, is that something you think you can take for the rest of the series with you?
The second part of your question, I probably wouldn't want to say in public, just because I don't want to give any answers away. But yeah, it's obviously challenging. Very tall, very long, deters a lot of things at the rim. Like I said before, you got to be smart when you go in there. Be patient, but also be aggressive and don't be too timid in there. I think you get caught worrying about it too much and you lose aggression, and that's where they really stranglehold on the game. You got to be able to be aggressive, but also be smart.
Obviously, the wounds are still fresh from this game, but how do you sort of bounce back, or how do you use the experience you guys had last year in sort of similar environments, game one against Denver and Indiana, where sort of similar games where it comes down to the end and it just doesn't go your way?
Yeah. I mean, we've been in this situation before, so this feeling's not really new, but it's also a completely different basketball team. But I think that the thing that remains the same is we have to get better with each game. We have to learn the mistakes from the wins and the losses, tonight the losses, and continue to get better. We did that in the previous two when we lost game one. We have to do so again this series if we want to give ourselves a chance.
You mentioned that obviously you guys have been here before. What do you remember about your first playoff loss of your career and just how your mindset has shifted since then? I honestly don't even remember my first loss was to Golden State with Steph and Katie and them, but I don't really remember how it went, to be honest. I honestly don't remember, but I've changed a lot since then.
Shai, you mentioned you can't let Wemby take your aggression away. What got you going like midway through the fourth quarter?
Honestly, I feel like they loosened up a bit in their coverages, and I just felt it was what the game needed to try to be aggressive, touch the paint, make plays. Didn't make enough of them tonight personally, but I think that's what the game needed.
They did. Spurs 122-115 in double overtime over Oklahoma City to take game one of the Western Conference Finals and snatch away home court and end OKC's 8-game post-game winning streak this season. A lot to talk about here, guys, but we have to start the conversation, of course, with Victor Wembanyama. 41 points.
Start and end with
24 rebounds. youngest player ever with a 40-20 postseason game. They threw everything they had at him, but none of it worked. Why not?
Because he is who he is. I mean, he's a smart player. He understands coverages. He understands who's guarding him. When he has a smaller player on him, he just goes to the rim. When he has a bigger player on him, he goes by him. It's like, how can you play against someone like that? Someone that can shoot the ball from half court as well, in a pivotal time of the game, and also someone that can go in and finish by the rim. So, he's definitely, one of a kind. But he also, what makes him so good is the fact that he understands basketball, he understands where he's good. So, when you have a player like that, you just got to pray.
And even that didn't work. Isaiah, there were a lot of concerns about his minutes. Played 49 in this, and he was at his best when it mattered most, late in that double overtime.
Yeah, I think he played a few too many minutes.
Yeah,
because you could see he was exhausted towards the end. But he got some type of energy the last 2 minutes of the second overtime and made play after play. So that says a lot about his mental state and where he's at, and obviously his physical state of being able to push through. But it is the playoffs, and there's no excuses. And if he's going to be out there, he's going to try to be the best like he was tonight.
If there was a concern for San Antonio as a team, it was the fact that they haven't been in this situation before. So now they go on the road, hostile crowd, MVP getting his trophy, reigning champions, okay, and then they find out before the game, we're not going to have De'Aaron Fox, the guy who is our veteran guy in the backcourt. You got a first-year player and a second-year player outside of him. They don't have him, but then they still go out and they manage to execute better when it counted most. Some rocky points, but they executed better when it counted most in OKC. How'd they do that?
Well, I mean, look, there's no substitute for not having your point guard. Steph Castle did a great job today, filling in that role, so did Dylan Harper, but they still need their point guard. Steph Castle had a great game, 11 assists, also 11 turnovers. But,
so it's a wash.
Yeah, it's a wash. So he had 0 assists. But the thing about it is what makes them good is that they're scrappy and they continue to fight. And that's coaching. And that's also playing with your leader, who is Victor Wembanyama. Also, the league is going, we've had a league where we focus on the perimeter, but, when it comes down to these games, you have to go to what's easy for him and what you know. You have Victor Wembanyama out there, a 7'5" guy that can play around the rim, also can knock things down. So what happens? When you need a bucket, he goes straight to the rim and they feed him. There is no substitute for that. At the end of the day, you can be as old or as young or have as much experience as possible. The best thing for them is to have the ball in his hands close to the rim, and they did that later in the game.
I see Dylan Harper, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, but 7 steals. Created extra possessions for San Antonio. What do you think about his impact on the game?
Hell of a game. I mean, he's been doing that all playoffs long. Like, he's been playing like he's been a veteran, and he's been in these situations. And I've said it before, I think the inexperience of the Spurs is a positive for them.
Why so?
Because they're going in with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
They got the opportunity to go out there and play, especially the young guys, and they're figuring it out on the fly. So when you got a team that believes in themselves, they have nothing to lose, so they're going out there playing as hard as they possibly can, which the Spurs are doing. You got to tip your hat off to those guys because, like you said, Castle had 11 turnovers, but it's the experience in the playoffs of making those plays as a point guard and fighting and figuring out through those turnovers, how do you move past that? And then the same thing with Dylan Harper. He's just figuring it out on the fly, and that's the most dangerous thing because at the end of the day, they're very talented, they're young, and they're not scared. And that says a lot about how they came out in game one.
Yeah. My guy Steph, having 11 turnovers can make or break somebody. And it didn't break him at all. The fact that he still made plays, wasn't scared to make those plays, made up for it on defense, it just shows how gritty they are. I think as far as grit on that team, he leads the way.
Oh, for sure.
Between him and Keldon Johnson, those two guys are the grittiest people on this team, and they lead the way as far as grit. But, 11 turnovers and still be able to make plays and still bring us home, running a point guard position, says a lot about him and how tough he is mentally.
Now let's talk about the job they did defensively on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 7 for 23 from the floor, had 12 assists, 24 points. I mean, if you look at it, the numbers are okay, except for the 7 for 23. How'd they make it difficult for him?
Well, like we always knew, they have lots of bodies to put on them. They show the wall, manipulate shots, and all those things. So that was the biggest thing. They kept him away from what he was comfortable at, which is finding angles and getting to the line.
I think he said in the Lakers series that he wanted to see his teammates beat the Lakers. He didn't feel it necessary to take charge. Did in Game 4 with a big scoring night. And tonight we saw Alex Caruso play out of his mind. And then Jalen Williams with a really strong performance coming off that hamstring, but not much else outside of those three guys.
Yeah, the biggest thing for the Thunder, their adjustment I think is going to be they're going to have to put guys on the floor that can score and make plays. Because the Spurs are so good defensively where they're not guarding one or two guys each possession. They're putting Wemby on the guy that they will live with making threes. Tonight it was Alex Caruso. He had a hell of a game, so shout out to him. But you're living with whatever he does in terms of missing and making his open shots because that eliminates SGA being able to score. That eliminates Chet Holmgren only shooting 7 shots.
Yep.
And then a guy like Lou Dort and Isaiah Hartenstein, they probably won't play as much because they're not offensive threats. And that says a lot about the Spurs defense. So shout out to Caruso, but it's going to be a hell of a series if he has to go for 30 each and every game.
Right.
And I think the Spurs will live with that because it takes the opportunity away from their main guys.
He stepped up to the challenge, though.
He did.
Yeah, Holmgren just 8 points, 2 for 7, scores around 19 a game. They definitely are going to need more from him.
For sure. And it's going to be tough, though. Because at the end of the day, every time you go in the paint, you're thinking about where's Wemby at.
Yeah.
And I think SGA had 1 or 2 times in the clutch situation where Wemby was outside the paint and he went and got a layup. But for the whole game, Wemby's right there.
Yeah, you can tell SGA when he's go to the paint, he's looking for.
Yeah, some of those mid-range shots and those floaters that we see, they just weren't there tonight because Wembanyama could take one step and he's there.
And it's tough. Yeah.
You know, San Antonio got to cut down on the turnovers, though. They had 23 turnovers that led to 28 points for OKC. You expect the turnovers to go up without De'Aaron Fox, but not to that extent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you expect the turnovers to go up. They don't have their point guard, which means they're finding ways to run offense. But what I love to see about them is the fact that although they had those turnovers, the defense made up for it. You know, you see people. You see Devin Vassell had a great block on Chet, like to save plays. They save plays, and they go and they have a lot of guys that can be scrappy and play different positions that can also get in there. And like I said before, Stephen Castle obviously is he leads the way with the grit, but they all kind of follow suit and. They get back after those turnovers and stop plays. So, that's one thing that they've been good at and been able to do during these playoffs.
All right, so IT, with that in mind, do you remain cautious with Fox and say, okay, we stole one in OKC?
I already know where we're going.
Do you leave Fox sitting for Game 2 and just make sure he's good for Game 3, or if he's ready, you play him in Game 2?
I think if he's close to 100%, you play him. But if there's any question about it, you won that Game 1, so that gives you a little bit of leeway to be able to hold them off till Game 3 when you're at home. So I don't think there's a rush. I'm sure they will test him out. But if there's any question about it, I think the Spurs will be smart and sit him and be like, okay, we're fine with going either sneaking Game 2 or going back to the San Antonio with a 1-1 series tie.